Hello, ladies. This is En route, and thank you for coming by to watch. And if you're a gentleman watching, thank you for watching as well. Today, I wanted to talk about how to deal with toxic men. And, maybe this could work for non-toxic men too. The thing about toxicity is that we have to understand what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a psychology, a psychopathy of the person who is toxic or abusive. And the problem with these people that are abusive is that they have a little bit of a problem taking accountability for how they contribute to the degradation of society as a whole. And as women and as non-toxic men, we have to start popularizing the habits that make things healthier, by communicating properly, by trying to be respectful, and by understanding that everybody has emotions, feelings, and that you're not the only person in this world. You're not the only perspective that exists. And there is a million life paths, possibilities, and that you should never expect for someone to be as knowledgeable in what you are. A lot of the time where the toxicity comes from is people will tell somebody that they're stupid or dumb because of their perspective, as opposed to explaining why the perspective has a little bit of holes in it. For instance, there's certain comments on my channel where the person will just outright completely disrespect you. And I find that to be very interesting because instead of giving me a valuable pearl of information, they instead want to insult me, degrade me, devalue me, and invalidate everything I'm saying. But they don't want to offer any other information as opposed to, they don't want to offer any information in a respectful manner to oppose what I'm saying. There isn't a debate is a dying thing. People don't debate anymore. People are just plain out disrespectful and intolerant of other people's opinions and life experiences. And because of this, we tend to have less understanding and more confusion and toxicity and anger and frustration. Now, if you know that the person is so stubborn and or ignorant to the point where they aren't going to listen to you, or maybe they purposely want to hurt you, then the best way to deal with people like that is to remove yourself and your energy away from them. Because a part of the reason why toxic masculines tend to do what they do is because they like to play games with people's minds and they like to take people's energy. They like to feel validated by your being so upset by the way that they're interacting with you and dealing with you. And sometimes sometimes toxic people get a kick out of ruining other people's day or making others feel bad and stupid. And this is why even when people are disrespectful to me in my comments, I don't usually sit there trying to go to their level. Instead, I explain to them why they're wrong or why they're right about some things and maybe not the other. For instance, somebody told me on one of my comments, like, what was it? Oh, single mothers are the reason single mothers are the broken family. And I politely explained to him that, well, he's like single family home, like single mothers are broken or whatever. But that's just because a single mother has a home doesn't mean that it's broken. It could be a healthier home without the father, because in lots of instances, the male can be very abusive in many ways, and even to the children in many ways. And just having a two-parent home doesn't mean that it's healthy, doesn't mean that it's not still broken. And so I really wanted to highlight this, that we have men, we were this is a man-made society. Women have been second-class citizens for most of history. But yet, now, as we have our freedom, we are still blamed for all of the problems that society has, even though we didn't even build it this way. We didn't create these social structures. We didn't even have a say in how things were supposed to go for most of history. And so when you have a large group of men that are infantile and have arrested development, the only way to deal with people like that is to ignore them and to allow them to figure things out on their own. And that is probably the best way to deal with these people, because you could try and try and try to continue on explaining yourself, or, draining yourself essentially. And you're just feeding the monster even more. The best response to something stupid is most of the time no response. But if you're feeling powerful that day and you really do feel that you have a good point, then you can say it. But don't do it in a disrespectful manner. Remain the bigger person. Don't stoop down to their level. Show them how they can communicate in a more effective manner, all while discrediting what they're saying. Because at the end of the day, respect is the most important thing. And if you're going to lead with disrespect, which is what a lot of toxic masculines do, then they're not trying to make a change. They're not trying to help anything. They're just trying to degrade things more because they have some sort of pain or emptiness inside them that they're dealing with. And you can only inform people like that to a certain degree. After that, you just need to drop it, leave it alone, and let it go. Like this one person, I kept being very reasonable with them, and every comment was an insult. And so then I realized, this person just doesn't want it. They just want to insult me. It's not about the topic. It's just about making me feel stupid. And so that's when you have to say, okay, well, that's great. I'm just going to remove my energy from you because you're in a bad mood and you clearly don't like me. So, I just wanted to lay that out there. It gives some advice to my ladies and even gentlemen. Removing your energy from these toxic masculine people are the best way to go about things. I don't think that it's men or women's fault. It's a people problem. And we all need to learn how to communicate more effectively and respectfully. And we all need to realize that, people have different perspectives. We can't all have the same knowledge. You can't, be the electrician, the pilot, and the governor. Maybe you could, but in reality, not everybody has that full scope of knowledge, and each of these individuals will have a different perspective on life just because of the way they have to move in life. The pilot, the governor, and the electrician are not moving through the world the same, so they're going to see different things. So they're going to have different perspectives. And so we should never use universal quantifiers like all single mothers are the problem for broken families. It's like, well, are they single because they didn't take accountability? Or is it because somebody else didn't take accountability? And, that is the question. Because I know a lot of single mothers that have worked their ass off. And this, despite, all of the slings and arrows that the world has given them, they have done the best that they could without the help of a proper man around. And it is definitely not their fault. People can only do the best that they can. At the end of the day, women get stuck with the babies most of the time. And I find it very curious that there is a large group of men who have this very cold pathology that allows them to have no regard for human life or the complexity of it. And it's just interesting, and it's just sad sometimes. And I hope that we can wake up and realize that things are not black and white. at all.